This evening, the Cortland Common Council held their first session of the year where they reviewed a new local law. The proposed law would implement an occupancy tax for hotels in the city of Cortland. This would apply to any type of temporary residential service, including large and small-scale hotels, and would provide Cortland with additional funding for city projects. Cortland Mayor Scott Steve explained how this would impact city-owned hotels.
We don't want to give the disadvantage to city-owned hotels to be taxed too much higher than outlying hotels to push business away from them.
The council said that the tax and the specifics behind it will be worked out at a future budget meetings in the city of Cortland. And drinking